You're watching New Car Spin. I'm your host, Brian Grant, and this is the 2019 Toyota Avalon Touring. Now, if you've seen my channel last year, you'll notice that I've driven the Avalon before on a racetrack with 3 people in addition to me in the vehicle. The problem was Toyota said I could film it and I could drive it on the track and anyone can go in the car with me, but I can't talk about driving impressions. So we took it around the track. We made fun of that aspect. We tried to talk about the car as much as we could. I think if you watch that video, you'll laugh your ass off. Definitely check it out. But I couldn't tell you what I felt or what I thought about the Avalon by the way it drove. So here we are, a year later, finally in the Avalon that they gave me for a week. This has the V6, it's 301 horsepower, it's front wheel drive, and it's a large 4-door car. It's right there with the Nissan Maxima Platinum, the one I drove recently as well. If you haven't seen my videos lately, I drove a Toyota, I'll back that up. I drove a Nissan Maxima, and I compared that to a Lexus ES 350F Sport. And I compared those two cars together because the Nissan Maxima used to be called a 4-door sports car, and I kind of called Nissan out on that because it's not. It has a CVT. It may have a V6, but the CVT and front-wheel drive combination and all that torque steer, I think it's not as good as that Lexus ES 350F Sport. Now, that's the first F Sport Lexus has put into the ES trim, or the line. But here we have the Toyota Avalon, which is basically the Lexus ES 350. Now, this is the Touring, so this isn't going to be like the F Sport in the Lexus. But I have that video too. So check out the Lexus ES 350 F Sport video where I ride with Chad from Lexus and we go over all the nitty gritty, the 650 adjustable damping combinations, all this other stuff that goes on. That is in this Toyota Avalon. But what I should have done is compare the Avalon to the Maxima, but it wasn't available that day, so I didn't. I compared it to the Lexus. But this is the real deal here. This is the one that falls in between those two cars. You got the Maxima, the Avalon, and then the ES 350F Sport. They're all about 300 horsepower, V6, naturally aspirated, and they're all front-wheel drive. The Maxima is a CVT, so I don't give it too much credit for that, but it looks great on the outside. The Avalon, and this is the weird part, I've had this car for a week, and I woke up in the middle of the night going, oh my God, that is such a brilliant metaphor or analogy. I'll let you know about it in 1 second. Here's the window sticker. All right, so 4-door Touring. It's actually assembled in Kentucky. 31 on the highway. I really didn't drive it too much on the highway to get that result, but I would say 25 average is about right. And it's about 42. Comes out to 44.6. I can't even read that. 44.565, 665, whatever. Just about 45 grand, which is right there with the Nissan Maxima Reserve or Platinum, whatever it was. This car is amazing. So I woke up one night thinking, Tomorrowland, you know, you have Disneyland and Disney World, and they have in the Magic Kingdom, they have Tomorrowland. And that is the part of the park that has been updated the most because they have to keep up to that name. Like, it has to be futuristic in the future. But when you think about it, Tokyo is more futuristic. Tokyo's got the lights and the glass and steel buildings and everything's just like insane. They have speed trains over there. Like, that is Tomorrowland, not this Disney stuff. But Disney Tomorrowland has fun rides and things, but everything's concrete and heavy and thick and just, it's hard to work around that. And I think that's what we're at right now with SUVs. Everyone's buying SUVs, everyone's buying trucks, and everyone's overlooking the sedan. But this thing is from Tokyo. You could tell this thing is futuristic. This thing is well thought out and planned and ready for tomorrow. And so I've been driving this thing daily, and it has been so perfect. It has been so perfect. I don't even realize I'm in a Toyota. That's how crazy this car is. So the Avalon is no longer for old farts. It's no longer for people who go to yard sales and estate sales every weekend. This thing won't be rolling up to those. This thing will be for probably someone in their 30s or 40s, married, single, doesn't matter. They're professional. They go to work. They go out on weekends. They have multiple cars, but this is the car that they may even be in real estate. This is the car they use. It has a V6. It scoots on the highway very well, and it sounds amazing. It's almost like, I wouldn't say it's like an Audi. It has Audi cues like to the back window over there and stuff like that. But I'll go around it real quick, and I'll tell you what I think about this car and where everything falls into place here. So it's kind of windy out, as it always is here for some reason. But I'll jump outside. Actually, let me turn it on first. Okay, great animation, all that. We even have a heads-up display, which I can't see with my polarized shades, but it's right there. And it also has a little startup animation. In our screen here, we have like the typical stuff you've seen with other vehicles, with the menu and going through and seeing all the settings and blah, blah, blah. I'm not even going to bore you with that. Here we have a great screen, and I can see it with my polarized shades just fine. People may not like this whole look, but just now I took out some cleaner and I wiped this whole thing down. And it was so easy to wipe down. So I'm not really concerned about fingerprints or anything, but if you think about it, compared to the Lexus, this doesn't have a stupid remote control. This doesn't have a joystick piece of crap that I want to take up and throw out the window. It's just a touchscreen. It's very, very nice and simple and easy to use. It's perfect. Not compared to every car, but especially compared to the Lexus, it's perfect. Because I can get in and it remembers if I had my cooling on or my heating on for my seat. And by the way, the heated steering wheel is over here. And when you enable that, it only heats up this area here. It's not the whole wheel, so it's only these areas. But getting back to this screen, you know, you're able to easily reach the temperature. Passenger side too. Passenger side has their controls, but everything here is very easy to use. And then you have your screen here, which is a little slow, but just getting around it, it's relatively efficient, and it does what it needs to do. Of course, you have your phone and you can see all the contacts and all that stuff, but we're going to go away from that. Okay, so the sound system is a JBL, and that's part of Harman Kardon, actually, Harman International, which I think is now owned by Samsung or something, but it's a really good sound system. It's got a great stage. If you turn off the auto levels and keep it flat on the equalizer, you'll get a really good sound stage in here, and I like it. So there are 5 things I consider really good for a road trip vehicle. This has 4 of them. Number 1, great stereo. Number 2, great seats. Number 3, good headlights. Number 4, auto dimming mirrors. Did you know this has auto dimming internal and external mirrors, even the passenger side? So all 3 mirrors will auto dim, which when you're on the road in Texas at night and you're in the middle of nowhere and there's cars like 2 miles back with their brights on, it's really annoying when that right mirror isn't auto dim. So I'm glad Toyota did that. Weirdly, and I'm all over the place, just keep up. Weirdly, we don't have rain sensing wipers. We just have our standard intermittent setting, and when you turn them on, the headlights will turn on, but they don't actually sense the rain and turn on, which is really weird. And maybe that's an option. I don't know. I haven't even bothered. It's just as weird as having paddles in here. I don't know why. We'll get down to the features here. So you'll see we have an electronic parking brake. The moment you put it in park, the parking brake kicks in. That's just like the Toyota Camry I drove, the Camry 4-cylinder XLE, which had a panoramic sunroof. I actually liked that more than the Audi A4. Go watch that video. Toyota's kicking ass these days. They got the Corolla, they got the Camry, and then I have this. I just get in these things and I don't even think I'm in a Toyota. It's the weirdest thing. And it's the way it is daily. I'm not sure I can really explain it other than saying You'll get in it, you'll drive it, you won't feel like you're driving a economy car. And then you get out and you're like, what was that? Because that was interesting. It was everything was where it needed to be and everything performed well. There wasn't a spot where I couldn't find something, like in the Honda Pilot. Like I knew where everything was, and it just did it. It did it, which is crazy. So here we have the party piece. This is the drive selection. So we have our Eco, which I never use, and then we have normal custom, which it starts into by default into normal mode, and then we have Sport and Sport Plus. So let me turn the fan speed down. Let me just turn it off. Okay, I'll turn my vented seat off too. So we're in normal, and if I just rev the engine a little bit, sounds pretty good. Now I think there's a noise cancellation system in here, but there's also a noise production to make it sound sportier. So when you put this thing in sport, let's hit that button. You'll see there it says Sport S. Sounds a little different. And then when you hit it again, Sport Plus, yeah, sounds like a V6. So you hear the engine up front and you hear the exhaust out back. It's a very, very nice sound compared to cars these days that have 4-cylinder turbos. This is a very responsive V6. Unfortunately, it's front-wheel drive, but so is the Lexus and so is the Maxima. They're all like that. This is how it's going to be. So I do like the fact that there's a Sport and Sport Plus button on one side, because you could just go between these two and stay in like that sporty setup. And then of course you could start up in normal and stay in normal. If you're on like a really terrible road, you could just go back into that. Auto hold is for when you're at the lights. This will reset every time you start the car, so you'd have to enable it, press the button, boom. Brake hold unavailable, seatbelts unbuckled. All right, I'll show you that in a minute. But you can sit at red lights, and that'll hold you. The Camry does that too. That's why this car's so great at being daily. I don't have a stupid fiddly thing like the Lexus has, and I don't have all the torque steer that the Maxima has. So this is perfect between those two cars. Let me get out. It's pretty windy too, so I'll just give you a quick tour of something. Okay. One problem is, I'll tell you that when I get back in. So here's like the Audi look to it. Window there. Unfortunately, there's no sunshade for this back window, which would have been really nice. But in the back, we do have heated seats, 2 USB ports for charging devices, and of course, plenty of room. I don't like to use the term I'm sitting behind myself, because that sounds really just weird. I am sitting in the back seat, and I do have plenty of room back here. And of course, my big test for how big a back seat is, you should be able to sit in the back, and so like in a Mercedes S-Class, my fingertips wouldn't even touch that B-pillar. Here they are, but it's not that bad, right? So there's plenty of room here for this car. This is doable. I could see this as a decent road trip car if you've got a family or like teenagers. Like, there's plenty of room back here, and it's not a crappy car. It just isn't. It's very nice. This is a really cool sporty interior. It has like a perforated leather, so in the Texas summer it's going to be pretty decent to deal with. And then of course we have a different texture right here. This is like a microfiber Alcantara Dynamica kind of texture, and they have it on the door here too. It's just really nice. Let me show you the trunk. The trunk is weird because there's one button over here to open it. I never find it. There it is. Trunk is very wide. You pull here to lower the seat backs so you can have a pass through. Just to give you an idea, that's the end of the trunk over there. It's kind of hard to tell on camera. It's large. The opening's not that big though. That's why you're not going to see this at estate sales. Cool lip spoiler. Very, very classy design. Not as classy as the Maxima, but right up there. Let me show you the front. We are on Bridgestone tires. They're pretty good. Lexus-y-like front end. You can't disagree with that. May look better than the Lexus too at that point. Let me pop the hood. Alright, it's got struts. It's a good thing. I don't have to deal with a prop. But here we are, a nice V6. Transversely mounted. Pretty easy to work on. Maybe not. I guess the oil filter's down below. So no more topside oil changes for me. Okay. So normally when you get in or out of the car, actually when you turn the car off, the seat will go back, the steering wheel goes up. You get a lot of room to get in and out. When you start the car, seat goes up, steering wheel goes down. Problem here? That's like 1.5 feet away. I cannot get that grab handle from here. That's extended all the way. So if I had my seatbelt on, I just couldn't reach that. And if you're old, you're gonna have a hard time. So that's the problem. You have to kind of reach it from here to pull it in. Now I can do it without having to like stretch and go way over there. So if you've got back problems or whatever, my Chrysler 300 had that same kind of issue, just way too far to reach that handle to pull the door in. So just grab the top. All right, let me get my seatbelt on. It's kind of a weird day. It's like sunny and cloudy and then really windy, but very nice out. It's kind of like, I don't know what to do right now. 73 degrees, by the way. All right, put this in drive. Parking brake immediately releases. And let's go to auto. There we go, get the fan speed a little bit. All right, so we are in normal mode now. I'm just gonna go around the block. Oh, check out that Porsche. Freaking A. Now, we always talk about build quality and reliability at Toyota. I don't know about that. You can hear a wind noise. And I don't know if this windshield's been replaced or not, so I can't really blame them. But there's some kind of hissing here. You can hear it. So that's kind of unusual. And the only other unusual thing is you'll see little threads here. These little threads. Yep, that's all over the steering wheel. So it's on both sides. Okay. Can you see it? There we go. Those threads are sticking out all over the steering wheel. So I'm not sure if it's a thread or someone did something, like cleaned it wrong, but these threads are all over the place. So that's about as much as I can get into on the build quality. Let's go. This thing just scoots, man. And I want you to hear it. I want you to listen to the sound that it makes because it's really nice. This is where I get in and I feel this thing and I go, this is insane. This can't be a Toyota. No way. But you know, BMW is working with Toyota these days on things like the Supra, so it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of like did some ear bending on sedans. All right, we're gonna go for this. I really wish this was an all-wheel drive option. This would be really nice. Listen to this thing. All right, I'm gonna put it in Sport Plus. Boom, bam. We'll take off. Listen to the quick gear changes. Let's slow down a little bit. All right, we're doing 30, foot down. Whew. So you can imagine what this is like on a road trip. You just put your foot down, blast past the traffic, get back in line, settle down. It's really nice. This is a really, really nice experience. And I think that if you do a lot of driving for work, or you have kind of a commute that you don't like, this thing will definitely help you along because it's so daily. Everything in here is so perfect with the way it's been set up, compared to the Lexus and compared to the Nissan Maxima. I think you owe it to yourself to check this one out. And there's that noise you heard was stuff in the glove box. There's a bunch of brochures and things in there, so it's going to flop around. So that's the thing, is the glove box is not flocked, so you're going to hear stuff rubbing against the hard plastic in there. But I don't think you're going to keep what they've kept in there. Not the same. What else is there to tell you? Great visibility. It has all the features you'd want. The only downside is you can't turn on radar cruise. Or actually, I think I could in this one. I couldn't in the Prius. I couldn't turn on radar cruise while I was going really slowly. But we'll turn it on here. Cruise control active. Set. There we go. So it's going to just pace the car in front, keep a distance. We're slowing down. My feet aren't on the pedals. It's really nice. I think it's cool. We have blind spot. I mean, for a commuter car, you've got everything in here, and a great stereo. I'd tell you what the... I can't play anything on the stereo because YouTube would flag that for copyright, but just trust me here, it's a good stereo. So it meets a lot of the criteria except for the fact that it's front wheel drive. And that's pretty much it. I've got a sunroof. The only downside here is where I'm sitting. I can't see these controls, so you'd have to memorize what they do and where they are. And my seat's all the way down, by the way. And it's a power seat with lumbar adjustment and memory. All right. So as you can tell, it sounds great. I'm having a blast in this thing. I'm actually going to have a hard time getting rid of it. They pick it up on Monday, and they give me, well, Toyota. I'm done with Toyota, so now I get a Mazda CX-5. And that's what I've got coming up next. If you're not already following me on Instagram, please do, because I post I post a lot of things that are more or less personal and daily than just automotive related, but I do throw up the cars, what I'm working on, what I'm going to do next. So if you want to know what I'm up to, definitely follow me on Instagram. And if this is your first time watching any of my videos, thank you very much. And be sure to like and subscribe and share with your friends or your family, because I've driven a lot of brand new vehicles. That's why I'm called New Car Spin. And there's just so much out there to drive. It's impossible to get you everything. But let me know what you're interested in. I do have a lot of off-roading things coming up soon, but a lot of Japanese cars on top of that. And yeah, so I'm gonna go grab some lunch, maybe some oysters, I don't know, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.